Hello, everybody, and Merry Christmas with me and Bryn and Russell. We're here for our yearly tradition of tier lists, where I rank, Bryn ranks, and Travis ranks all the investigators. Mostly at this point now just for fun, especially because there's actually been no changes to the card pool from this and last year's tier list. So I especially like to look to see what changed, and like maybe they're just like, you know, feeling a bit different. But I know there was some that Bryn has actually played that didn't play last year. Like notably Mr. Carson Sinclair got a lot of love.
That guy still sucks.
So why don't we just dive in? Get this going, Bryn. I'm gonna let you you know, I'm not here to argue. I'm here I'll just agree with whatever you say. Anything you say, I'll agree to it.
Oh, okay. That's like a lot of power.
I've organized it a bit differently. Some things have changed. I've added an A- tier for the first time. And
just to get a little bit more striation in that.
Because I do actually feel like most investigators are like in the A tier. And I feel like we need like
that's fair.
A little bit more to it. And I've also done them now in expansion order as opposed to just alphabetical order as it was previously, and then turned into expansion order later on. So it's now actually in like a sane order. So why don't we, this is in a great position. Let me just move this over a bit. So it's see-through on the side. What the heck?
Got him.
All right, there we go. Okay. All right, Bryn. Here with the classic, we got the core sets. Roland Banks, notably this is original art, not new art, because those would all be 2 tiers below, I imagine, for
like
most of us.
actually off the bottom of the chart.
Yeah. Below NA.
Yeah, like, not only are they not applicable, but also they don't exist, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So they'd be like down with them parallel investigators, which you'll notice are also not on this, going to be appearing on this list.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna give Roland, I think, like a C grade. He's good, but he's so fragile, and not quite strong enough to make up for it. I think if he had like a more Joe Diamond like stat line, I think he'd be a much more appealing investigator, or you know, just better ways to protect himself. But there's no way he would get that without being a totally different investigator, or yellow cards getting more good. Yeah, which doesn't need to happen.
I mean, and also thankfully doesn't seem to be happening. Most of the yellow cards have been pretty mid in the last cycle, and
which is
spoilers.
I mean, like on the one hand, if you enjoy playing yellow, that's not so great, because what are you going to do? Play new cards? Why would you do that? Yeah, but he's just fragile.
Also, one thing I'm curious about, because I get it with Travis. Travis is like really easy for answering this question because Travis approaches Arkham with a very binary way in terms of this. But what makes an investigator like strong to you, like for that? Because I'm curious about that. Just to take a slight detour from Roland Banks on this and just ask like, because I imagine for you it's like there's layers to it, but maybe I'm wrong and you're just like, as long as they don't have 2s in their stats, I'm happy.
I mean, you know, I like Preston a lot, but he's not very good. I think like, you know, having a 5 in your do something number is kind of absurd.
Hard to argue with.
Yeah, like you got to be really good, like Will Yorick or something like that, to get out from underneath that.
So kind of just like, if stats are lower, value engine can really help that.
If stats are lower, there needs to be something going on that is very out of the ordinary.
Yeah, makes sense.
In order to make up for that, like anytime you see a purple investigator with 4 brain, it's like, sweet. So not only do I have to do the work to get 5, but like getting 6 is going to be really hard now. They got to be really good, like Father Mateo isn't.
Yeah, or like Luke Robinson, who can just make up for it by zipping across the map.
In a better example, like Luke Robinson is.
Yeah. Sick.
Yeah, I suppose it's a better comparison than like floats in the way that bricks don't.
Yeah. But, so what you're saying is Mateo's a brick and he sinks to the bottom of the river?
He's not great. He's not great.
All right. Well, then let's dive into Daisy Walker. I'm not going to read any of the investigator cards. A lot of this video is kind of assuming that you know these investigators. If you want to see a more detailed, like that'll probably be 2 hours, check out my tier list, which came out yesterday, because I will talk. If I have no one to rein me in, I can talk forever, and I do in those videos.
The truth.
Yeah. So Daisy Walker, Bryn.
Well, she has 5 book, but she also doesn't really do very much with it compared to other investigators that exist. We're gonna put her in the A- pile, I think, because 5 book is just a good place to be. Like, you're gonna need to get clues to win the game, mostly.
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah, like there are some scenarios where you won't need to do that. You can literally just sit on the starting location and gear up until
boss shows up.
You kill Mordath or whatever. Spoilers if you haven't finished.
The box
yeah,
campaign.
The box campaign.
Yeah,
but,
I get also a good just remind there might be spoilers for anything.
Yeah,
in this.
it actually could be anything.
Yeah, this is like a free for all. I mean, it could we could say Bruce Willis is you know what at the end of Sixth Sense. You know, we could even drop that. We could, but we won't. We won't. All right, on to Skids O'Toole.
Oh, this guy gets to live down at the bottom. He's like probably top of the D tier because he at least has a fantasy that exists. But that being said, he's not very good at it. He's like the player that your favorite sports team paid $1 jillion for, and you're like, this is going to be sweet, and then he just gets hurt immediately.
You have to ride out the rest of the contract.
For the rest of his contract. Like it's, the dream is there, but we're not really going to get there because he's got numbers, sure, but it's like having all 3s, which is not a great place to be.
Yeah.
Especially when blue is one of your options. You don't get red. Or much of anything else, really. Like, green is all about succeeding by a lot. Really tough to do that when you don't start with a real number.
Yeah. Do you think that also his ability is just kind of outclassed at this point in the game? Like, do you think...
I think not costing a card
is nice.
Still makes
balances
it,
out
makes
the...
it, like,
yeah,
pretty
okay, that's fair. Yeah.
But pretty fair is also not usually what I'm looking for.
That is, I love when I'm playing my power fantasy in a game I'm playing is fair.
yeah, right. Like, seems balanced.
That's really funny. Yeah.
Like, I would prefer it if everything seemed balanced and there wasn't, characters who were so much better than him. I'm looking at you, Tony. But.
That's just
okay.
like that's hard for design to
Sometimes the bad ones need to exist in order to make the good ones feel good.
Yeah, that's a great point. All right, on to Agnes Baker, everyone's favorite waitress.
Yeah, she's hype. She probably gets to live in the middle of A tier. Is a vaguely specialized mystic, but having 5 brain means you can do pretty much anything with her if you want to. Obviously, with her ability doing damage, she wants to do damage to things. Be at the locations that enemies are at. Otherwise, it doesn't do anything. And you're just showing up with 1 5 and a 3 and a number that you might use.
Yeah. Sweet. Wendy Adams.
Sweet card pool, though, also.
With Agnes? Yeah.
Yeah. Red 2-0 for the majority of the game's lifespan was the red cards.
Yeah.
You could just play all of them, pretty much.
Yeah, definitely. No, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wendy Adams, speaking of red 0 to 2, she can play most of it.
Wendy Adams probably gets to live up near the top, either top of A+ or bottom of the S tier. I think we'll put her in the top of A+, because you got to work to make her do anything. She doesn't have good numbers for doing anything other than not dying, which doesn't actually win you the game. But you get to discard your cards to redraw tokens, and that means that you could be playing with a deck that's half full of literally blank cards with a card back. And they wouldn't suck.
Yeah. And it also helps that there's a lot of cards that she enjoys discarding to get advantage of as
Red
well.
does that a lot.
Yeah.
That being said, kind of a trash card pool, actually. Red 0 to 5 is not that much better than red 0 to 2. And green 0 to 2 doesn't really get you any of the cool, fun green things, just some of the okay stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
But, getting cheat the game is it's really strong.
I do like it because, the red discard feels very red, but also like reveal an additional token. Cheating feels very green as well.
Yeah.
Feels very sneaky. I like it.
Yeah, it is. It is very, very strong. Notably, she allows you to cheat the Elder Sign in most effects, or the
Autofill?
autofail, and most effects don't. You can also cheat the Elder Sign, but like probably don't.
Yeah,
Why would
probably
you-
don't. Probably.
I mean, like you could.
Yeah.
You could.
I mean, if it causes you to fail, you might want to try, right? Because if
Yeah.
it only is actually a +0 unless
Yeah.
your amulet's in play.
Yeah, you might. Maybe you were hoping to get a bless token or something.
Yeah.
There are worlds where you might want to do that.
All right, Zoe Samaras.
She's very, very strong, despite not having a 5. We get 4s and 2 numbers that are both incredibly relevant. Brain is always a good thing to have a big number in. And, I mean, punches, if you're blue and your punch isn't at least 4, something strange is happening. And you're probably Carson Sinclair. We're going to put her, like, also in the A+ tier with Wendy. She just kind of fundamentally gets rid of one of Blue's core weaknesses of needing lots of money to do anything. She just gets money by showing up and playing the game. But not in a way of like, don't worry, I'll pass on all my actions and get 1.
Yeah.
Like, money outside the standard framework of the game.
I'm kind of excited to see Zoe with the new elusive keyword for enemies, where they run away from you, because then she can just be like, don't mind if I do.
Yeah, I mean, cards like Taunt might actually be good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I think Zoe's gonna see a surge, and I agree. I think she's already like very powerful. And the cool thing about Zoe is you don't really feel her Dunwich splash because her job is blue, and she can take advantage of her splash because she has 4 brain. She can like flex really well. There's a lot of ways you can take her. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, your like your 5 cards could actually do just about anything.
Yep.
Whatever you need them to.
Yep. Yeah.
Which is sort of a neat and largely unique way for these Dunwich investigators to work, because most of the other ones really need their splash to be doing a specific thing. Maybe one of a couple of specific things, but
Yeah.
yeah, with Zoe you can actually pick whatever you want.
Yeah. How about Rex?
Oh, he gets to live up in the S tier. This guy just like, he doesn't have a 5, but that's okay because his card text is broken. I tell people when I play like with new players that he's misprinted and actually works the way that he's tabooed to work, because while that is still incredibly powerful, it is fair.
Yeah. It's on like the it's on the fair side of OP. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's very good. It's hard to argue with Rex Murphy as a seeker. Sure, he can't play fortune cards, and that means he can't play lucky, but whatever, who cares? I guess he can't. He also probably can't play look what I found. That sounds like a fortune.
Yeah. It might be. It might be. I
yeah.
actually don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, he can play lucky cigarettes, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but is very good with his whole succeed by 2 motif.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Guy's just good.
Yeah. More deductions equals more better.
More better. Yeah.
It's just math.
Yeah, it is. It's just math.
Yeah.
Speaking of just math, 2 is greater than 1, and Jenny gets 2 resources instead of 1.
Yeah, she's like kind of bad though. She's gonna live in the C tier. Like, again, has a deck that she's better at than most.
Yeah.
But that deck is not. She doesn't get to do anything cool with it. She just shows up and she's like, I have a lot of money, and that means big number for test. And that's it. I mean, she does have the distinction of being possibly the only investigator who might ever want. No, I guess there's 2 who might ever want to play with Switchblade 0, the other one being Dexter Drake, because it's an asset that's fast and costs 1.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, not exciting. She doesn't do it in a cool way like Preston does, even though Preston's kind of bad at it.
Hey, get away from Bryn's sandwich, Rose.
That's okay. It's going to end up on the floor. It always does.
Always does. Yeah, you can sit there, buddy. You can sit there.
I know how this game works.
Yeah. All right. Jim Culver.
Oh, he gets to live at the bottom. He's like not great.
I thought maybe this was his year.
No, he's like, I mean, even with like every time that cards come out that say something about symbol tokens or skulls, or it's like,
is this the one?
But it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not. I think we need like a fundamental change to the way that like Song of the Dead works. in order to make him even have a chance at being an investigator that anyone wants to play. He's like actually worse than Skids.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. I mean, I talked about him a bunch yesterday in the video, so you can see that when I get there. But I mean, I agree. I love Jim's flavor, but his function ain't great.
Yeah, yeah. I wish that like I get what we're going for, but I wish we got a little bit more of the old Arkham Second Edition Dead Man's Stomp, and a little bit less of the random effects, and maybe they'll work.
Yeah, yeah. There you go, buddy. All right, Ashcan Pete with Duke the dog.
I mean, Duke the dog gets to live up near the top. Ashcan Pete, he's just like this guy, you know.
It's true. The guy we don't let our kids talk to. But he has a dog.
Yeah, he can't be that bad, right? He's pretty strong. We're gonna give him like A-, I think. Is not as fragile as he looks with his 6'5", because Duke has like 2'3" or whatever.
Yeah, something like
that.
Yeah, he's like 8'8". Ashcan Pete all put together.
Even though like you can't actually, it's more like 7'7", I guess, because you can't, like, if Duke dies, you don't do anything.
Yeah,
you're almost worse than useless.
Yeah.
You show up, you draw an encounter card, you create problems, you don't fix anything. It's like,
yeah, you might as well kill yourself before you let Duke die, because
you are probably better off resigning unless you have a plan for what to do.
Yeah.
If he gets killed in Dunwich.
Yeah, if he gets sacrificed.
Yeah, if Duke gets killed in Dunwich, man, you're in for a bad time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the rules state that you have to run through it because there is an achievement for it.
There is.
You have to shoot your shot, but it's gonna be a nightmare.
Yeah, it's gonna suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole like ready an asset thing opens up a lot of interesting deck building choices with him, because there are a lot of assets in several colors that exhaust to do their thing, and they are considered to be balanced around the fact that you have to do them once a turn. But Pete can do them many times a turn. Well, 2 times a turn.
But still.
Yeah, that's like twice as many as anybody else gets.
Yeah. Sweet. On to Path of Carcosa with Mark Harrigan.
I want to put Mark Harrigan in like the top of the A+ bracket, I think. Like, normally I would put him in the S bracket for sexy.
Yeah.
Because
that's
like he is.
Yeah.
But he also falls into the category of like incredibly fragile. He doesn't look like it, but his stat line is actually 5/5. Because if you have 4 or less remaining, Sophie hates you and you don't do anything good. Your stat line actually becomes garbage. You can still punch okay, but okay is not what we're trying to do. That being said, like, his deck building allows for a lot of interesting choices. I wish that he got tactics like 0 to 2.
Yeah.
But I get why he doesn't. Like, Sophie is a very powerful card, and he probably doesn't really need to be any better.
It would just be fun to see like a little bit more
just
diversity for him.
Just like a little bit more deck building option, as opposed to just like, which bonk and stick do you want today?
Yeah, yeah. And would you like to play Active Desperation? I would love to. Yeah.
Guns? What are your thoughts on guns?
What if the gun's empty and you know?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Like.
And then play Shortcut, because movement's key. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty tough to argue with Shortcut.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to make it more fun, because there's already plenty.
Yeah, like he's good. You can even play Practice Mix Perfect. His unique skill is practice, and so is Vicious Blow. So you can turn that card into a pile of extra damage.
And even Overpower too. It's just like it's a lot of juice. All right, Minty Fan, otherwise known as the Skill Extraordinaire.
Yeah, I think she's like solid. But that's about as good as we get. She's not like an incredible seeker. We're going to put her with Daisy. She doesn't have a 5, but she can like kind of have a 5. If you want to commit things to tests, which, I mean, if you don't, why did you pick? What?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess, but you can't really get that card pool anywhere else, except for with a handy-dandy photographer. But you know, skills are good. She is good at, like, it doesn't have to be a skill card. It could be anything. You can commit whatever you want. She's just, like, pretty okay.
Yep.
Crippling, well, not crippling weakness, but, like, man, can it be tough to get out from underneath.
Yeah, and if you ever auto-fail it, like, good night.
Yeah, right. Like, you try to run that test,
and you're just like...
explodes.
You're just like, please. Yeah.
I suppose that's where analysis is, like, actually
I do
really
like
good.
I do like analysis and min quite a bit for that. Just
it's also an unexpected courage there,
It is,
too, so
yeah.
that's pretty good.
All right, who do we got next? Safina Rousseau.
Oh, she's so cool. Good? Not really, but so cool. We're going to put her in the B tier, largely because we haven't put anybody else there yet. But I think she's also not quite so good. Like, I like her more than she is good. I can be a grown-up and admit that. You get to draw, like, a big hand of cards, and that's really cool. She just, like, sets up to play the game differently than everybody else. And that's kind of fun. But if you aren't doing things with your events because, like, maybe you've drawn the wrong ones, you don't do anything at all.
That happened to me.
Yep.
I recently played Safina. She's really interesting, though. Like, I love the stat line split. Like, actually just, like, your active stats are awful, but your defensive stats are really good. So, like, make that work. It's kind of like a puzzle all in of itself. It's really cool. Yeah. Akachi Onule.
She's just good.
She is just...
Like, at everything that purple does, pretty much, except play events. But even the events, she's still pretty good at, because she's got 5 brain. So, yeah, we'll put her in the A+ tier. I don't think she's, like, quite S tier. But I'm not actually certain that I think that any of the purple investigators are. Like, they're all kind of good at what they, like, doing whatever you need to do, assuming they have the right part of their deck to do that. But none of them are like, oh my god, they do this cool thing that nobody else can do.
Yeah.
They don't do that.
Yeah. Just the classic mystic conundrum, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we got Will Yorick.
Oh, he gets to live in the S tier. For sweet as hell.
Mark Harrigan's looking up like that used to be me.
Yeah. I mean, like, Mark Harrigan is also really cool, but like, Will Yorick, he does only have a 4 in his do something stat, but his card is sick. Like, we've got a reaction ability to play an asset, any asset, out of our discard pile every time you kill an enemy. It is so hard for the game to kill you or punish you in meaningful ways. Given that you've got, like, 3 and 3, if one of those assets that you're trying to play with is, like, Pete Sylvester, you got 4s, you got 3 4s. You're not going to fail the test where the game hurts you, and even if you do, you're like, oh no, I'll discard my leather coat, I guess. I'll go kill that guy and take his. Yeah,
there was in our assets only run, was one of the few times I've seen Will Yorick die, but you got attacked like, it was like 4 or 5 times on retaliate on a survival knife. So, like, you got attacked like 8 times by Big Butt Baby, and it took that much to kill you. Right, like, that's how survivable Will Yorick is.
He is very tough to kill.
Yeah.
And he also has one of the best Elder Sign effects in the game. Like, it is almost impossible for this to be bad. +2, did that not pass the test? How many curse tokens did you draw?
Yeah.
Get a card back? Man, the only time that's bad is on the first turn, and not even that anymore.
What were your thoughts on Bird in the kitchen?
1 second.
Oh, sorry.
I forget what we were talking about, but one thing I'm very curious to see with Will Yorick, because I feel like Hank Sampson and Will Yorick are going to have a lot of crossover with their, like, card identity, right? Which is just things that, you know, take damage for you, and then you can bring them back, I think the whole thing is going to... Also, the fighter, survivor, fighter. So, I'm curious to see if that happens. Oh, I remember we were talking about the Elder Sign, how it's so good, Yeah,
you even these days, you just get to start the game with a graveyard.
Yep.
So.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I'm not entirely into the idea of playing short supply in York, just because it's like, wow, that's too easy. But if you haven't played him before, you should probably try it.
Hell yeah. All right. Lola Hayes.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. She's an investigator, isn't she?
She is, yeah. Oh yeah, she's here. Right, yeah.
We're gonna put her at, like, in the C tier, I think, because like, she's okay, I guess. There's, like, things you can do that nobody else gets to.
Yeah.
And that's good. All threes is not great unless you're playing the game with no money, in which case maybe all fours could be good.
Yeah.
Anytime you get to use cards to add 2 of your numbers together, she's pretty okay at that. But much like Skids, pretty okay is not
Where you want to be.
not the target.
Yeah.
Yeah, she plays like an interesting game with those. I mean, they're not even new anymore, but like the synergy cards.
Yep.
They're still new to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're still new to me too.
Like, I haven't really played with them. So.
Yeah. Edge of the Earth was only, what, 2 expansions ago? That's nothing. That's only, what, 2 years of my life?
Yeah, it's like actually kind of a real amount of time. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Leo Anderson.
So he'd be a lot better if his hands didn't turn into trees periodically.
Yeah.
Like, his stat line is sick, unless you're beset by ants or playing through the campaign that he came in.
Yeah.
Really. He's kind of not great for that. But getting to play your allies, like especially Guard Dog, without provoking an attack of opportunity, spending an action, or actually paying 3, that's like kind of good.
Yeah.
Is heavily reliant on purchasing charismas. So if you have the Forgotten Age but not Dunwich, just proxy your charismas. It doesn't matter. Like, nobody sees them really. Because he kind of sucks without them. I wish that his unique card was a little better. And by a little better, I mean, like, playable as something other than a skill card or snake fodder. Because like, Mitch Brown is not great.
Yeah, if Mitch Brown, like, you were able to have him in your opening hand, he'd be a lot better, because then you'd, like, have your charisma at 0.
Yeah, even if, like, Leo started with, like, worse numbers, like 6-6 or 6-5 or something, like
Ashcan Pete
does, and you started with him in play.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Now we're talking.
I mean, we're probably looking at, like, way too strong of an investigator, but...
But still.
Like, he might even have to start out with, like, 5-4 or something like that.
Yeah.
To be a little fragile.
I'm pretty sure if he would come out today, it would be kind of more along that.
Yeah, I think he just really wants to have that, like, charisma, but for non-unique allies, kind of just stapled to him.
Definitely, 100%, yeah.
And that given that he doesn't, that's not great. We're gonna put him in the B tier. Like, he plays guns really well because he has green and blue cards, and those are where the cards that interact with guns are. But aside from that, he's kind of like Tommy, but not as good.
All right, we got Ursula Downs.
She gets to live in the D tier for Downs tier. Ursula Downs tier. That's what they call her. I love this investigator, and that's how you can tell they're bad. A lot of the things that I enjoy in this game are like trying to figure out how to make bad things work. Although, like, playing Ursula is kind of like you could pick someone else, anybody else in this color, and you'd probably be doing a better job. Except Amanda, she sucks. She's only got 2s. You do get some sweet action compression and, like, ability to ignore enemies to a limited extent. But she also is, like Leo, has a unique asset that is a skill card called Unexpected Courage. Doesn't do anything. Well, I mean, I guess he does also kind of allow you to ignore enemies. Sort of. He's not great. Her card pool is just pretty much very Kate Winthropy, where spoilers if you haven't seen that, you should probably check out the video.
Yeah, we spoiled it. We spoiled it.
We did that. Probably before this video comes out, which
Yes,
if not,
yeah.
I'm going to be edited and appear a little jerky here. Where you get to play yellow cards and then also yellow cards. Like Relics 0 to 4 is mostly yellow cards. There's a couple of neat purple options, but not too much else. Anyway, that's why she gets to live down near the bottom, is because she's got a 4, and unlike Daisy, whose card pool is like maybe not incredible, hers is like actually just monochromatic.
I'm sure I talked about this in my video, but I haven't recorded it yet, so I have to talk about it here. But I do feel like both Ursula and Kate's entire thing, they would have been like very interesting if they were the 0502 Seeker Rogue. Ursula especially. I think Ursula like really screams it.
Yeah, she would do very well in that kind of
yeah, like especially because like the movement whole part of green.
Yeah,
like being able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, she is incredible at playing true solo.
Oh, and yeah, she's also like really good in two-player. If she's your two-player Clover, your action compression is going to be insane.
Yeah, like anytime you get player counts higher than that, she starts to struggle a little bit.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah.
Because she wants to be moving all the time, but in the higher player counts, you can't really just leave a location with 6 clues on it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you probably can, but
it's not great.
Why?
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Finn Edwards.
He's got a very strange card pool.
Yeah.
Like very strong words on the front of his card.
Yeah.
But his card pool is like Rogue 0 to 3 and then like up to 5 0 to 1 red and or yellow cards. And illicit cards, all of them. Mm-hmm. Which admittedly are green cards again.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird stat line where you got 3 punch, but like do you really want to do that? Because you get an extra action to run away from things. So maybe that's where we want to be. Strange, just like a strange fellow.
Mm-hmm.
A strange little man. I think he's fairly strong. I want to put him in like the A tier, I think. Because like getting to evade enemies, especially in lower player counts, is just like, that guy doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Ever again, because I don't need to come back here. And 4-book. 4-book is a... Well, it used to be a bit of an oddity in Green Investigators. It's not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But he just kind of does everything pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Especially at drawing his weakness multiple times. He's so good at that.
Man, yeah, sometimes you just sit there and you're like 2 cards, eh? Like, we're going to coin flip this one again?
Yeah.
Like,
all right. Okay. Very funny game. I appreciate you.
You got me. I don't get to draw a card this time.
Father Mateo, he is the brick that sinks. We've already established this.
Yeah, which is why we're going to put him down in the D tier at the bottom. Because he's not applicable, but... Like, he's not good.
And he also just, like... He seems like his identity keeps getting eaten up by other things.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like...
Yeah, we get new blessed cards. Somebody else plays them better.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even really work well for him with his weird numbers. Kind of all over the place. Does have a very strong elder sign, so like you can kind of play around that if you want to. I won't tell you not to.
Yeah. That's kind of like his identity that's his, which is like fishing for his elder sign. And there's pieces, but right now, not so much.
No, not as much as...
I mean, maybe New Olive will really help him, right?
Maybe. Because it doesn't matter what the other token looks like.
Yeah. If there was like a Dark Prophecy that upgraded that also let you choose the Elder Sign if you drew it, would also help him? Yeah.
It certainly would.
Yeah.
But as is, he's just kind of uninspiring.
Yeah, that's boring as sin, which is crazy because he's a priest. Next up, we got Kelvin Wright. I love that he could just start with zeros in his stats. That's so funny to me.
Yeah, we're gonna put Calvin in like the C tier for Calvin.
Can't argue with that.
C for can't argue with that. Yeah, no, he's just like, I mean, I get that he's kind of broken in Carcosa, and he can be really good. But having to start out the campaign not doing anything makes it very difficult to actually get to the part of the campaign where you are good. And there's a bit of a tightrope to walk with how much trauma you can actually afford to take because you do only have 6s.
Yep.
So, 11 trauma does kill you. Assuming you got to pick where every piece of it went.
Yeah.
Realistically,
you might not
probably
get the...
like 8-ish kills you.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, he can snowball you off a cliff, like, just suddenly. He's our most retired investigator, which makes sense.
Yeah, you don't always get to finish the campaign with him if you start it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you draw his weakness too many times.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the campaign structure is not friendly towards him.
Yeah.
That being said, nobody lights braziers like this guy.
Oh yeah, he loves lighting braziers.
It's actually like it's listed on his dating profile as his most favorite thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's very good at that. Also, like, I love there's ever encounter cards that like test your base value, and you're like, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of times where Calvin just like peeks through, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of red cards also that care about like how different your base value is to the difficulty of the test, and I mean that's
very good
for him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't actually do very well. Like he plays the flex role very strong, but any investigator who can be killed by an errant whippoorwill,
yeah, probably not great.
Yeah, like they're probably not incredible.
I need to play Calvin because I'm the only one who has it in one of our campaigns. So we'll see if maybe I will complete the Triforce and also retire him. That'd be fun to see.
Yeah, I mean, if you play him through the Forgotten Age, you're probably not making it to the end.
100%, yeah.
Unless you get turned into a Yithian, and then you still only get one more of each.
It's true. Yeah, you actually get worse because your deck's like built around and you're like, frick.
I mean, you do get to start with real numbers.
It's true. So
that's cool.
Yeah. All right, on to the Circle Undone. We got Carolyn Fern.
Man, she's a tough one. Like, we're not talking about the book versions of Investigators because I don't care to think about that. And also, it's not the artwork that we've got.
It's true.
So, it's probably not intended. Because the book version of her is very bad.
It's true. It's true.
You're probably thinking, but they do the same thing, and you're right. But Foolishness the Cat does not make up for it to fight the Black Wind or against the Black Wind or whatever it's called.
Just whatever that Black Wind is bad. Yeah.
It's so strong, and Foolishness is just kind of there.
Yeah.
Her standard cards, like pretty strong. She can be built to do just about anything, but not particularly efficiently. However, nobody on the team will probably die while she's around. Healing Sanity is very strong, especially when partnered with somebody who struggles with that, like Mark Harrigan, or anyone with a low count. Given that she also gets blue cards, she can also heal meat damage pretty well because that's where most of the healing is. We're going to put her in the A- tier, I think. She has like incredibly flexible deck building. You actually probably don't even need to play blue cards in your deck if you don't want to.
Yeah, imagine like when the game's done, you can actually just like...
You probably don't have to.
You have like the pick of the litter for Carolyn. 100%.
She can't play weapons that are higher than level 0, which means that some of the blue cards that heal sanity she cannot play, even though it sounds like maybe she could, because can't is bigger than can. It has more letters in it.
That is true. That's just math. That's just math.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much in this video.
Yeah, she just brings like a lot of economy to the team. And like a lot of investigators is vaguely broken with Pete Sylvester. Turns out he's like everybody's boyfriend.
Yeah. Joe Diamond.
Oh, this guy's gonna live right next to old other hat guy.
This one?
Yeah, Roland. That's his name, and I know that. I find them not that different. They both play a role of like I can fight monsters, but also get clues pretty good. I think his deck building is neat, where you get like you have to build that separate deck, the hunch deck. But I think he's just too fragile to be strong. Twos in your defensive stats lead to a lot of possible scenarios where you're dead on the second or third turn of the game. And with his card pool, there's actually kind of not really that much you can do about that. You can play like pretty reasonable soak and hope that that works. And it probably will. I just don't think he's strong enough to make up for it.
Sick. All right, we got Preston Fairmont.
Oh. I mean, like, I guess we're going to put him in the B tier for billionaire.
Hell yeah, let's go. He's a millionaire in the 1920s,
yeah,
but now
that
he's
is
a
adjusted
investments.
for
Yeah, like
inflation.
everything.
It's,
Yeah.
Like, you know. He's not actually super great. What with having ones in his number and not getting better like Calvin does. But 5 money a turn is actually like 5 times as much as everybody who's not Jenny gets.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot. It's really tough to argue with that. Sure, you do have to spend it to be doing things, because if you don't, like, ones. You got ones. Oh, yeah. You can afford to play the game with a lot of things that are not particularly good for other investigators, like events that cost 6 money to do a marginally good thing somewhere that you aren't. And red cards 0 to 2. I mean, like, it's just good. Sure, he can't play with illicit cards, but that's only some of the cool green ones.
It's not like you take advantage of a lot.
And you can employ criminals.
Yep.
As long as they don't get caught, or you have plausible deniability that you knew that they were engaged in a criminal enterprise. Because no, you didn't ask where Mr. Virgil got those things.
Yeah.
Only that he was willing to sell them to you at a reasonable price at an opportune time.
Sick. All right, we got Diana Stanley.
Oh, she's cool. But, like, good? I mean, also, yeah, I guess. We're going to put her in the A tier. Most of what she does is just pretend the game doesn't exist, which is maybe not the most engaging gameplay loop, where you kind of show up in the game's like, I'm going to hurt you this time, and you're like, no, it doesn't. No, you're not. And that's kind of what she does. She does struggle a little bit to get things done with her, like, fairly mediocre stat line, but her brain does cap out at 6 when you're fully fully online, fully stacked. You can put all kinds of cool things in the basement, like Olive. She's like, why are we going down there? And you're like, don't worry about it.
I'm redeemed, I promise.
I'm redeemed. I only have a hammer and some handcuffs. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But, you know, she's just good.
Marie Lambeau, the other mystic from the Circle Undone.
Oh, yeah, I don't like her at all. We're going to put her down in the D tier. She's probably better than that, and Travis would be like, but Bryn, she takes extra action or whatever, but he's not here, so he doesn't get a say.
Yeah.
Take that. 4 brain and 4 book is like, why? Like, I'm going to be investigating with my brain anyway. Like, I get that she gets to play that Finn Edwards split of, like, extra cards from a different color, but...
Yeah. Also, still Seeker and Survivor. Everyone's...
Like, it's
just
okay.
like everyone loves those classes.
Yeah. But I just, like, I don't want to play her over any other Mystic. I don't think the extra action is worth having to do the work to make her good at things. And, like, I mean, sure, Baron Samdi's a friendly fellow, but not that friendly.
All right, we got Rita Young.
Last year, I think she was in the Christmas tier because she could play root.
Yes, yeah. She was, yeah.
Which we're not doing this year because it would be derivative at this point. Really. I mean, like, what are we doing? I think she's a lot stronger than I thought she was, but I would have put her in the C tier as well. So, like, this year we're probably going to put her, like, A-, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, like, if I was ordering these, she'd probably be the bottom of this tier. Maybe the top of the B tier. I don't know. She only gets to play red cards and tricks, which, I mean, they can do a lot of things, but it's mostly like a small pool of green cards. Which admittedly do things when you evade stuff, which is, I mean, like, clearly she wants to do that because that's what it says that on the front of her card, and she has 5 foot. But you gotta work to actually, advance the game. And that's not, like, a great place to be, but she's pretty, like, it's not that much work. Not that much.
All the Rita fans are feasting.
Yeah, she is also squishy as hell.
She is incredibly squishy, and her weakness is a fucking nightmare.
But, Pete shows up and he's like, don't worry about it. I got this.
Oh my, Pete's incredible.
Yeah.
As we've learned, Pete's incredible in a lot of these investigators.
Yeah, he's a very solid partner, it turns out.
Yeah. All right, on to Dream Eaters with Tommy Muldoon.
I think I'm more excited about this guy than he is good. He is very similar to Zoe, where you kind of get around one of the core issues of playing blue, which is not having enough money to do your things. Sure, you gotta kill your things to get the money out of them, but if you don't kill your things, you're just gonna make a mistake that a rookie would make, some sort of a rookie mistake. And it's just going to be really bad. So, kill him and get the money and move on. I think we're going to put him in the A tier. Like, he's good, but a little less, about as good as Zoe, but a little bit less flexible than she is. A little bit more rigid in his deck building, because you do have to include, there's a lot of cards that, I mean, sure, you don't have to include, but you have to include something that looks like it. So, it's not really that different ever, is it? Like, his gun is sweet.
Becky is sweet. Yeah.
Also gets to be an investigator who can play red cards, where both Pete and Jessica are not very good.
Yeah, which is nice.
Which is kind of a neat thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, Mandy Thompson.
Yeah, she's just, good. I don't really want to talk about her too much. She's kind of boring in how good she is. She gets to live up at the top. Wow, 2 yellow investigators before a purple investigator, or a blue or a green one? How could that happen?
How could it happen?
Yeah, you just get to, you get to pick what your second color is. It can probably do whatever you want it to. You don't even need to play cards from it because it doesn't matter. She's, kind of that good. She's got a nuts stat line. We don't have to have a 2 in punch. Sweet.
Yeah.
Sure,
yeah.
Moving along.
Yeah. Tony Morgan.
Yeah, this is the other guy. Kind of boring in how good he is. He gets to live up at the top too, because his card is just do you want to take an extra action? It has to be for a limited set of things. Just kidding, you wanted to be doing that anyway. So you just get an extra action. Also, 5. You want a 5? Everybody gets 5. Just kidding, only this guy gets 5. No other green investigators get 5 except in foot, which is not great. A lot of green combat is balanced around people having 3 or 4 fights. This guy's just hold my beer.
I played sawed-off shotgun for the first time in Tony. And Tony, all fighters can kill things, right?
Oh, yeah.
It hasn't gone live on the channel yet, but Sister Mary and Mark Harrigan did a great number on the Spectre of Death in the Catacombs. But I played that Shotgun Tony deck. I actually killed the Spectre of Death and Haruko in one turn. His output is It's like he has just so much. He has the
Yeah.
green action and then the damage to back it up. It's
Yeah.
wild. This guy is a machine.
He's not entirely fair.
Yeah. Which is like a flavor win, right? Like he really feels like he's killing who he wants to kill, right?
Yeah, he's just showing up. He's just showing up for another day of work.
Yeah. But
Does it matter that they're fish people? No.
No.
No, what matters is that he's being paid.
Exactly.
He's fighting. He's showing up. He's fighting the battle he's paid to fight.
Exactly. Oh.
And every other one too, because why not?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We have Luke Robinson.
I mean, like, if there is a purple investigator in the S tier, it's probably Luke. So we're gonna put him there for diversity's sake. Don't worry about it, Luke. You're good at what you do. You're not a diversity hire. You get to move forever, as long as the location's been revealed. But that's okay. Bully your teammates into doing that. You don't need to do that. Somebody else will. His card pool is strong, even if his stat line is not as good as Mandy's. He doesn't get to have 1 in punch, and 4 in book, or 4 in brain. 5 in brain. He has 4 in brain. I can read.
He'd be insane with
Yeah, I mean,
one
like, he would
fist
be
and
nuts.
5 brain.
Even if it was like 4 foot,
yeah.
it would be like, whatever.
Sign
The game
me up.
doesn't- Yeah, the
Yeah.
game doesn't exist.
Yeah. Like no aspect
Yeah.
of it does. Enemies
Yeah, nothing.
in counter deck.
You would
yeah.
actually just show up and be like, Diana Stanley, who?
Yeah, because like 3 foot is already very
Yeah.
commendable.
3 foot works.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that much in order to make it a number that you could successfully evade something or pass a test on an encounter card with.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just good.
Very good. Patrice Hathaway.
I've never played with her. And 2s are not good. Like, she does seem like... We're going to put her in the C tier. Largely because I haven't played with her. I mean, I think she's probably like B at best. But like she's got a neat gameplay loop and a weakness that looks scary, but like whatever.
Yeah, unless you draw
It just kind of doesn't exist unless you draw it on like, the first turn.
the first turn or like right
Or,
before a
like,
deck
yeah,
reshuffle.
and
Yeah,
you
those are the
don't-
2
you
times.
Didn't include Quantum Flux
Yeah.
because it was hard to spell or something. I don't know. You should probably play Quantum Flux if you have it in your collection. Getting to shuffle your deck back kind of removes most of the worrying parts about playing her. Admittedly, you do have not a lot to make your brain do things for you, and it's the only number that doesn't suck. But you're red. You can make any number work if you try hard enough and believe in your lucky star, play cornered.
Yeah. Sweet. On to Ends with Conspiracy with Sister Mary, the nun.
What is it they say? No nuns? None? I think she's okay. She plays like a reasonable support game, but not as good as a different blue investigator does.
Daniela Reyes.
Yeah, Daniela Reyes, like, hang on, let me let that guy punch me and then he'll die.
That's me supporting.
Yeah, they can't hurt you if they're dead. It's the best crowd control there is. I think we're going to put her in the B tier for Blessed.
Hell yeah, checks out.
Yeah, she's not bad. She's got a good card pool.
It's going to get better too with Hemlock Vale.
Yeah, and like, presumably, given that we've seen that they're not unwilling to print new cards that interact with Blessed and Cursed tokens, she's probably only going to get stronger as we move forward.
Yeah, and I think also like the Bless cards that we've been seeing are like more appropriately costing Bless is putting in. At least what we've seen. So she's gonna
Yeah, and I mean, admittedly, I've used that word a lot of times. I'll try to find something better next time.
No.
But Bless tokens are not good. You show up and you fight a rat and you're like, I'm up 2, and you're like 5 Bless tokens later, this rat is dead. Anyway, that's a good last 2 turns worth of stuff you did.
Yeah.
Let me just take those out of the cup for you.
And you spent how much of your resources on that? Sorry.
Well, I mean, it's good that the rat died. That's
Yeah.
good. It is really cool when they show up on tests that you'd already given up on,
Yes. But
but you don't really control that
yeah.
very well. Unless I suppose you spend experience and resources doing so.
Yeah, it's like it's what I always tell people when they're like bless sucks, or like curse sucks, like I'm building a deck around it. You're not actually building a deck around it unless you guarantee you can hit it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Favor of the Moon is probably one of the best cards in a curse deck
Yeah.
because not only are you dodging those curse tokens for your teammates, you're also making sure that they're not going to waste them on their stupid tests that they're trying to pass like a normal person.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. And as one thing we also always say, this actually, because Bryn actually set it up perfectly, that bless sucks. Look at how many times curses cause you to fail, but on the inverse, how many times a random bless token causes you to succeed, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not. They're probably about pretty close to the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm usually planning on having my tests succeed anyway. So like +2 probably doesn't change that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Speaking of 2, we got Amanda Sharp.
She can live down at the bottom. She's got 2s.
She's got 2s.
Can't be good.
Can't be good.
It cannot be good.
I think those.
I've never played with her. I've never seen anybody play with her. Like, why would you? Her numbers are all 2. You could get a 5. Or deduction every turn. And yeah, I don't know.
All right, we got Norman Withers next. Wait a minute. What? That's just a Norman.
You got me for a second on that one.
That's just a Norman Withers mask.
Oh man, that Norman Withers guy is pretty cool. If he'd stop asking about where I keep the nuclear secrets.
Yeah. I also love that there's that new card, Fake Credentials, which is like, it's like not a great card, but it further I mean, I think it's playable in Trish, but like it further adds to this whole Trish cosplay you can do of her just being anybody, which is super fun.
Yeah, I think she's very strong. I want to put her in like the A+ tier. I think I don't think she's like as good as the people in the S tier, but not by much. Like, there's a lot of vaguely degenerate things you can do with her. And, she doesn't really have a downside. She's like who Monterey Jack wishes he was. Because it turns out with Bigfoot, you also want to play green cards. Mostly. And, he only sort of gets to do that.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah, her ability is like very strong, but
So strong.
not quite as good as our friend Rex Murphy.
Yeah.
Even if it is slightly more flexible.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it was also, she was just like, I always forget that she's tabooed, but like, it's a pretty,
Yeah, you don't get to like automatically evade elite enemies.
yeah,
or
which I think is like a good,
Yeah.
it should have been as printed for sure. But still a very powerful ability. It's
Yes,
like,
sir.
yeah. Dexter Drake, the Magician.
Yeah, I think he's just good. We're gonna put him in the A tier, I think. Like, his weakness does take 2 turns to deal with, and not like 2 turns in a fun double action, and that's not even really that fun as far as weaknesses go, which is like, it's cool, but also more punishing than most weaknesses are.
Yeah. It can creep up on you.
Yeah, because when you draw it, you're thinking with sand.
Yeah.
You got nothing.
Yeah. It really does just change your math completely. You're like, I had a line thought out, and now it's...
And now it doesn't work.
Yeah.
He plays a really cool game where you want to like move assets in and out of play. He's good at it. He's got a 3 in his punch, which is almost useful. I suppose you probably could make it useful if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, especially also like once again, you have to like find your showmanship. I think there's like a lot of problem. There's a lot of investigators with really cool signatures, but it like changes on if it like is in the top 5 or the bottom 5 cards of your deck.
Yeah, it really does. Even if it is just like a couple of free unexpected courages using an outmoded scale of measurement.
Yeah.
His star effect is also really cool.
It's very good, yeah.
Very difficult to make happen when you want it to. But if you're headed into the end of a campaign and you've got all the cards you want, there's a purple skill card that just does that on command.
Yeah.
And that can be very good indeed.
I played a Dexter recently, and I had Living Ink, and when it takes up the arcane slots,
Yeah.
and also +2 and -1s to my other ones, and I had 9 Brain and 5 Fist, because you could have 2 of them in play, so I was like, I was 9 and 7. I felt, but also 0s in the other ones, but it's like powerful Brain Dexter. It was really fun. And then when they're empty, you just get rid of them. He has a really cool play pattern, but I'm awful with Dexter. I have the worst luck.
He does. He plays a very neat Underworld Connection deck because you want your cards to have different names anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you can't discard things for things with the same name.
Oh, that could be a fun deck to build.
So yeah,
that's a great idea.
It also makes you more likely to find your showmanship, and it is night and day.
Mm-hmm.
Playing with showmanship and playing without it.
Yeah.
Molly Maxwell, the book's alternative that I know I said I wasn't going to talk about, is also really cool.
Yeah, she's a very powerful
unlike
card.
most of the book alternatives where it's kind of just like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
Like, no, you can do a cool build around with her as well.
Yeah. Silas Marsh, the other half of the Spectacular Skill Squad.
Yeah, this guy's terrible. Nah, he's pretty alright. We're going to put him, I think... I mean, like, we could put him in the B tier for, like, broken. Because he does some things that are not supposed to be the way they are. Probably. Like, I hope that wasn't the way that they intended for this to work. Just the way it does. Actually, for how good he is, he probably gets to live in, like, the A- tier. He's not very good at, like, progressing the game itself.
Mm-hmm.
But he handles monsters like a pro.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's definitely a non-zero number of cards that have been tabooed to function differently because he exists. We have a different art of him on that.
Yeah, because like this was back when the first time we did one of these tier lists, the real version didn't exist.
Right, okay.
And I've just never replaced it. It's probably going to be the same with Gloria, her book ones, and I think is Norman the same? Norman is also is in his book promo. Yeah, the ones that have just like their legacy in that state, legacy book version.
They've been grandfathered in.
Yeah.
He's got probably, I mean, red characters, strong elder sign effects. Who could have seen that coming?
Yeah.
His is real good.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Not only do you get to succeed, but also probably do something else and then do the thing again.
It's wild. Yeah.
So.
All right, we're on to Edge of the Earth, and we got Daniela Reyes.
I mean, like, I want to say that she's not good because red, like, 0 to 5 is not good access for pretty much everything, actually. It's like, just okay. You want to be something else 0 to 5 and then get to play with red cards, too. But I've also seen her turn a casino into a blender.
Yeah, she did have some support in that. Yeah, but that was something else.
Like if you can, teamwork is a hell of a drug.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If she gets to have access to either green weapons or blue weapons with teamwork, she's kind of nuts. If she doesn't get to do that, she's just good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, solid card text, reasonable card pool, having a 5 in your do something stat and a 1 in a stat you don't intend to use.
It's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, like, see Mandy Thompson, I guess.
Yeah.
I think we're going to put her in the A- because, like, red weapons suck. Blue level 0 weapons also suck, strangely enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're supposed to be good at it. It's just okay.
Yeah.
Like, survival knife is 0.
Mm-hmm.
but you do have to get hit first.
I'm curious to see, once again, like Yorick, like Tommy, I think Hank Sampson might give her some big juice going forward.
Some more ammunition.
Yeah, just like a big red weapon is going to be...
I mean, that pitchfork seems...
It seems, yeah.
Very good.
It goes to the... I like that level 0 design of... it gives you plus extra damage, but it has a cost, like an extra cost to it for survivor stuff. Like also like Sea Sledgehammer and all that.
Yeah.
It's a nice area they're exploring. Actual Norman Withers. Actual Norman Withers.
Wait, so that...
Wait, who was that earlier that we put in the A tier? The A plus tier. Who was that earlier that we put in the A plus tier?
Hang on. Something doesn't check out here. I think he's okay. 1 in foot is not the greatest place to be, but running away, that's a game for young people. And not college professors. It's very undignified. We're going to put him in the A minus tier, I think. He's cool and all, but Book v Shroud is just a thing. There's like very powerful things that he can do with his card text, but you know, he's really bad when you're playing with only events, it turns out.
Yeah.
So yeah, shame on me, I suppose.
All right. We got Monterey Jack.
That cheese, man. So you know everything that we said about one Norman Withers? Yeah, it's true for this guy too. And I don't mean like the college professor, I mean the real Norman Withers who was like asking us about the nuclear secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah. He really wants to be able to play green 0 to 2. At least. And he cannot. So what does he do? Basically be Trish but bad. And admittedly, god damn it, I said I was going to use a different word. So he can be different. He can, like, you can play him differently. He can be just, this is a resource engine on a stick, and we go do things and pretend enemies don't exist. But he's not exciting at it. He's not even, like, that great at it. We're going to put him in the B tier, I think.
For blue
bad.
cheese. All right.
Yeah, he's just Trish, but bad, pretty much. He does also occasionally get to be Ursula, but good.
But also sometimes
But-
Ursula, but bad. It's a little bit...
Yeah. Sometimes you're also Ursula, but bad.
Yeah. Monterey Jack's a
So-
weird guy.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it's not his fault. He's got jaundice.
It's true, yeah. Lily Chen.
I want to like Lily a lot more than I think she is good. I think her card pool is pretty mid. And you have to play half the campaign not being good at anything. So we're going to put her in the C tier, I think, for choose your own adventure.
It's good. Yeah, it's a good place for it.
Yeah, she does get to play this cool... if you've ever played Netrunner, Adam was the runner that I played the most, and she gets to play a not entirely dissimilar game to that, where you get to pick things that you do from the beginning of the game. But she isn't great at any of them. And she doesn't get... Unlike Adam, she doesn't get to be good at any part of the game. Even though Adam wasn't really that good. He could have just played Anarch instead. He did get to play like a very good aggro game, though. Lily Chen just kind of gets to be bad for the first 2, probably 3 scenarios of a campaign, and then not exactly awe-inspiring in the last 3. So, you know,
Sick.
make of that what you will.
Bob Jenkins.
This guy's hype. They keep on trying every time that somebody's like, I get to do something broken with green cards. They're like, no, we're gonna taboo that away. Every time somebody gets to do something broken with yellow cards, they're like, as intended. We're going to put Bob up in the A+ tier, I think. He's very good. You do have to work a little bit to make any of his stats big enough to be relevant going into the end of a campaign. But you can buy anything. And by anything, I mean the cards you're allowed to buy the game. Yeah, you can't buy an old hunting rifle, but you can buy a machine gun. Don't worry about that. You can be made to do pretty much anything you want, because it turns out that with an identity of items matter, you can do whatever you want. They all do something, except Grimm's Fairy Tales, which mostly does nothing. But
no, it does. When you play it, you never fail a test again.
I should include that in my next Bob Jenkins deck.
Yeah.
And just try to shrewd dealings with the Travis.
Yeah, don't give him a choice.
Yeah,
just here you go.
Nah, boss, you're playing with this now.
One thing I also really like about Bob is, like, the action you hate taking the most is a move action, right? But, like, a play action, every time you save on a play action, which is basically just like a setup action for your assets.
Yeah,
it's just like
move for free.
Yeah, it's like you just get like all that stuff.
Yeah. If you spend all your XP buying a clock that maybe is telling the time somewhere else or not time at all, you don't have to spend your actions moving anymore. You can have the clock move you instead.
Yep.
Also be really good at the first thing you try to do anytime you want to do it.
Yeah. All right, we got into we're actually on Investigator starters first. We got Nathaniel Cho.
Nat Cho just gets to live in the A tier. He's just good.
Yep.
Relatively unexciting, because what are they going to do? Print new events that do damage differently to the ones that we have that do damage? Like, whatever, who cares? It's ultimately going to be the same. So he's not really ever going to get cool new things to play with, I don't think. Unless we get some sort of new investigator who cares about spirit cards, but that seems unlikely.
Yeah.
Given that he exists, and so does Calvin.
Yeah, and if they do, it's going to be like survivor spirits, you know? And
yeah,
it's
like, good. I mean, it's going to be in a way he can't play with because he's a book investigator.
Yeah.
I think most of the book investigators are very solid.
Yeah.
As we've seen in our draft challenge,
the
investigator deck should be the most contested pick.
It's a lot of great
cards. There's a lot of good cards in those decks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boring, but good.
Yeah. Speaking of, like, boring but good, also, like, Harvey Walters.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a little bit more excitement going on because you got that tension of, like, am I just going to explode?
Yeah.
And the answer is maybe. Maybe you will. Maybe not, but maybe. I think he's also just like, we're going to give him A- because I expect more out of yellow investigators because they are, like, yellow cards are broken. Not as bad as they once were, but still better than every other color.
All right. Winifred Habermock.
She's green. She can't be good. That's the law. I think we're going to put her in the B tier. She has 5 on her card, but it's in foot, which is not great. Everything she can do, well, not everything, not quite everything she can do. That's unfair. Most of the things she can do, Rita can do, but a little bit better. She does come with her own built-in draw engine, which, I mean, Harvey does too, but she gets to do it in green cards, which actually care about finding the right ones as opposed to a lot. It's just kind of cool.
Yeah. All right, Jacqueline Fine.
That she is. She gets to live at the A+, I think. Her ability is just very good. If you don't want to fail a test, because maybe it's really important, like somebody's trying to throw their copy of the King in Yellow into the river, but it has somehow become attached to their hand.
Yeah. This is the way to do that. This is one of those methods
This will stop you from just exploding. And by exploding, I mean throwing away all your cards and doing nothing. And being unable to do anything also for the rest of your turn and possibly life. There's a lot of tests in this game that are very important, and she can make sure that you don't fail them. And five brain. You can do anything with 5 brain.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
It's true. And I mean, she's mystic, so like she's only mystic, so you're gonna be doing whatever you want with it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're not using only your brain, like
You don't really have a lot of choices.
yeah, please tell me how.
Yeah. All right, Stella Clark.
I hate her so much. She's just like so good. Like I guess she gets to live in the S tier probably for Stella. I don't like it, but I don't make the rules. Obviously, they'd be slightly more codified if I did. Not that that's a shot at Fantasy Flight, but like, I would like them to hire like one person whose job is rules, so that we always know what's going on. Anyway, that's totally unrelated to Stella. Stella gets to play with 3 copies of her unique card for reasons that I will never understand. It commits for 3 wild, and you don't suffer any ill effects of failing, but you won't, because you just committed 3 wild to it. Pretty much anything, you've got a real shot of passing now. It's also innate.
Yep.
For, again, reason.
And it's also
red,
Survivor,
and red.
Yeah.
So there's no possible way that you could get it back for almost nothing. Every turn. 2-ish times. Make sure nobody ever fails a test again.
Yep.
I think if she gets 3, they should subtract 1 and then prevent all consequences of failure, so you are likely to actually fail. Or you should get to play with 1 of them. I think that would be either one of those would be a happy place for her to live. As is, she's pretty okay at teaching new players that failing tests is not the end of the world, because it only sometimes is. And when it is, you don't think about it, because it's not going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah. She's just a little too good for her own good.
All right, we're on to Scarlet Keys, and this is actually like the most like we actually have like new, because when we did this tier list last year, they were pretty fresh faced for us. So we actually have like new perspectives on these guys. So Carson Sinclair.
Yes, Mr. Vincent. He's fun. And by fun, I mean if you enjoy not actually doing very much on your own, because you don't. You have 2s. You're Amanda Sharp, but actually worse if you aren't doing the thing you do, which is give other people actions to do more of their good number gooder.
You're like, I don't wanna.
Yeah, we're gonna put him up in the A- tier, I think, because like he's a very strong. You know what? We'll put him in the A tier because we're putting everybody in the A- tier. That defeats the purpose of separate tiers. He plays an incredibly powerful flex role. If you've got like two other people who are good at their thing, like you got a Mandy and a Mark on your team, or a Mandy and a Tony on your team, you're like, sweet, each of you is more of what you do.
Yeah. He flexes by specializing. It's kind of like,
You just show up and you're like, we need to get clues? That's sweet. I'm going to use this action to effectively investigate with your number. Which is very strong. Recently we played a teamwork run, which if you haven't watched, I mean, I understand gameplay is not what a lot of you are here to watch, but you should check out like some of the deck lists at least for it. I don't know if we posted them anywhere. We probably didn't. So you're gonna have to watch the game and try to extrapolate what's in the deck.
What's important is Runic X goes to Daniela when the horse is in the stable.
We had we were playing like a teamwork combo, like a literal teamwork combo, not like, hey, we're building decks that don't suck together. Given Daniela things she's not supposed to be allowed to play with.
Yeah, it was very memorable.
It was real good.
Yeah, and like, I think Carson is. I also just enjoy like being able to just be like, you know what, I've given the actions, I'm done. Right, like I have my safeguards in play. You guys do it. Like I'm done.
You guys got it. You also get to play with a lot of cards that you don't normally get to play with because they are too difficult to use while still furthering the game, because furthering the game is not your business. That's somebody else's problem.
He also throws dynamite. He likes to stick a dynamite very well.
Yeah, he's the only investigator which we're going to say I have successfully dynamited both
players
both of my teammates
in one game.
in one game.
Yeah, that was incredible.
And by successfully, I mean them being like not being like you're griefing me right now.
Yeah, just like I get it.
Like
Go
no,
for
it's
it.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do that.
Because you also soak so much for them too, right? Like
Yeah.
it's also kind of just built into your kit as well.
Yeah, he's got some interesting build paths. Sucks and true solo.
Yeah, that's
Don't
true.
do that.
Don't do that. Yeah.
6 and 6 is a little bit squidgy, but I think I get. When he was spoiled, I was like, this guy sucks. And now I'm like, this guy only kind of sucks.
Yeah. My only, I mean, I'm sure once again I said this in my video that went yesterday. Oh, by the way, Ellen Penrose, thank you so much for following. If you're watching this on YouTube, that probably just fucked your mind a little bit. But I do wish he had like 3 or 4 brain, just because I feel like he would be even more fun without being too good to also have to like use less stats for like soaking horror, like as that as well, like less cards in his deck to mitigate that kind of stuff. But I think he's still a very fun investigator. Yeah.
Yeah, he is pretty cool.
Vincent Lee.
This guy is like the coolest yellow investigator who's probably not actually yellow. He's like definitely some sort of a red investigator who focuses on combat.
I mean, actually, I'd say that's very accurate.
Because you're trying to make stuff work with bits and pieces that shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like some sort of a monster.
like a
Like
Carson Sinclair's monster.
yeah. Built out of spare parts.
Yeah.
I think he's pretty solid though. We're gonna put him in the B tier because I don't think he actually excels at anything.
Mm-hmm.
But like I mean, he's got a doctorate.
Mm-hmm. It's true, he does. Yeah.
I think I haven't seen it.
Yeah, he just is straight before he
cut
starts
my
cutting
hand
into
off or
you. Yeah,
whatever,
and like
but-
this really like it hasn't healed. And he's like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like it hurts every time we start. he's hurting you, so he stays in business.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, but he is like Carolyn. He's got some really cool deck building options, including one that doesn't work the way the rules are written.
Yeah.
But Fantasy Flight says it does, so it does.
Mm-hmm. That's the power when you're God. You can just
when you make the game, I guess
you can just
do whatever you want.
Yeah, they could just like be like, here's a new taboo list. We have made Dexter Drake forbidden, and we're like, what can you do? Dexter Drake's out of the game.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, what can you do?
Next one we got is Kaimani Jones or Kaimani Jones.
I do not like this person. I think they are not very good. At really much of anything. The tools, like getting to play green and tools, is sort of neat.
Mm-hmm.
But the tools, like, aren't really that good. The unique ability, I mean, the top half of it is like, the bottom half doesn't suck, see? And the bottom half is, I mean, like, there's cool things you can do with it. You can discard, 5 health non-elite enemies. That's kind of sweet. But there's a reason they start with 5 experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because they're not actually that strong. So we're going to put them in the C tier, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. And I am definitely a little sandy because I built a bad deck. And then had to suffer through 5 more after having realized that the deck I'd built was bad.
Yeah.
So that's on me. That part's on me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not Kaimani's fault.
I mean, but this is also why we do the tier lists. Like, even though like not much moves the needle, it's
sometimes things are different. Sometimes we've seen a thing through a different lens, and man, it turns out we really needed to go see the optometrist because Dr. Christopher is like really good.
Yeah.
Sometimes, not all the times though.
All right. Lamina Zidane.
Oh, I think she just kind of sucks. I'm gonna put her down at the bottom.
Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable.
Like again, I could be totally off base with this. Maybe the getting to play things for 3 less is way stronger than I think it is. But I don't think so. I don't think it's strong enough to justify the 3s. And the fact that that makes most purple cards just bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. We also don't have a lot of experience at the table
Yeah.
with Amina. Because the
Yeah.
only time we've actually seen it play, the three of us, was Travis. And it was kind of just like, I'm helping sometimes, but a lot of the time I'm kind of just like here.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Daryl Simmons.
I think we all thought this guy was going to be a lot better than he is. However, he does have 5 book.
Yep.
And that is like pretty Daisy Walker.
It is pretty Daisy Walker of him. It's
Yeah.
Daisy Walker because she was the first.
She was the first one to do
Yeah.
that. So we're going to put him in the A- tier as well. Because I think you can be pretty bad if you have 5 book. And still be like a pretty welcome addition to a team.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in future there'll be slightly more ways to abuse his camera.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. The rest of his stat line is pretty mid, and like the succeed or the tested 0 archetype, I think, is either going to be broken, so they change the number, on like the standard number on difficulties on tests,
It's going to get ass
or
off.
it's just going to be not good.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the world it's going to exist in.
Yeah, I think for the health of the game, I hope they just like
I hope it just
ignore it.
gets to stay bad.
Yeah, they just ignore
Yeah.
it.
As much as that may be unfortunate for our friendly neighborhood, he's not even a Spider-Man. He does have a camera, so
Yeah, he's closer than most
he's
others.
closer than many people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Our last Scarlet Keys investigator, we got Charlie Kane, the Vampire Hunter. I actually don't know what we're gonna do. Once Hank comes out, we're gonna be out of meme characters that we're memeing for.
Yeah, we're
Like-
gonna have to start making up our own characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Start playing-
Chuck Jones,
Yeah.
firefighter. Joel.
Start playing some Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, and just start making some characters
Yeah.
and just being like sending annoying emails to Fantasy Flight. Hello, this is my custom character. His name is Barney Frankfurter, and he has a jetpack. And they're like, "That's thanks for we sent you a keychain."
We appreciate that you're engaging with this game.
Here's a keychain.
Yeah, I think he might be really good. His sort of build your own card pool is a lot better than Lola's.
Mm-hmm.
Because at no point do you ever just draw the wrong card and die.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really like a lot better than doing that.
I'm just gonna start moving these guys.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good. That's where they're all gonna live. I don't recognize them as real investigators.
Do I have a card for Grandma? I don't have a card for Grandma. Okay.
I think I want to put him in the S tier
Okay.
because I think he might be like very good.
Mm-hmm.
But also, what are we gonna do? Not put something somewhere weird and have you all question my ability to appraise a card? Yeah. Also, it makes that top bit nice and square.
It does,
So,
yeah. I mean, actually, I think like pretty much just Roland
Yeah,
Banks is here
yeah.
ruining it.
Yeah.
Should we put Grandma in the NA tier just to fit this out? Because I don't have this
Yeah.
card for Grandma, but
I think he has the potential to trivialize a lot of game mechanics.
Mhm.
Even though he's only got 6 and 6, you like starting with three charismas is like 9 XP in the bank, and that's a lot.
yeah,
Even
and,
if all you're doing is playing beat cops and guard dogs and crap.
yeah, and pretty much any ally that comes out now is
Yeah.
gonna just be like more juice for the
More juice
campaign
for
run?
the Charlie
yeah,
guy.
like he's thirsty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I still haven't played Charlie Kane since he came out. I've not played. I've played him in like a standalone, but I've just never played him yet. Still, so I don't even know what I'm gonna give him, to be honest. Mine's also kind of like gonna be based on a lot of like theory crafting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like I've only played him once.
Yeah.
And it was like a sled dog deck, so.
It was a little bit memey,
make it
yeah.
that what you will.
Yeah.
But even there, I was kind of just cruising around like how good do I need to punch this guy?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like, he is admittedly a little bit fragile, depending on how your, like, mulligan is. But, I mean, like, I do think that's true for a lot of investigators as well.
Yeah, if you don't hit some allies in your mulligan, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, and not a what are you doing, like, oh my god, I can't believe this guy's doing it. Like, I mean, what are you doing is in, like, how did that happen?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what's happening?
Yeah. All right, do you want to give Grandma a rank?
I mean, I've never played with her. I think she seems very strong. We'll put her up in the A+ guys too to ruin the aesthetic that I just created.
No, but now
I
it's
think
like
it's mirrored now. Almost.
yeah, it's
mirrored
looking
now.
pretty good
Yeah,
now. Like,
if I pretend one more of these guys doesn't exist in the NA,
yeah,
then it is mirrored.
it also kind of looks like a guy. Like, here's his nose, his lips, his I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I think she's very strong. Not a lot of wasted points. And sure, you only have 5 health, but you got purple cards. Like, figure it out.
You have purple cards, and you decide what you draw.
Yeah, don't draw cards that are bad for you.
Yeah.
Maybe nobody draw cards that are bad for them. How about that?
That seems nice. It seems like a
That's
good
a
deal.
choice too. That's like something she does.
Yeah.
She's like writing the story, and she's like, and then Charlie Kane fell off a cliff and died, and he's like, oh my god, why would you do this to me?
It's like, don't worry, I landed on Tetsuo. Yeah, it turns out I was okay, Gloria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Next time. I'm gonna get that motherfucker next time. Sweet! Alright, well there is another Christmas tier list in the book, and also another sign that we have aged 1 year in our life, which is crazy, because this one actually came up pretty quick. I was like, looking at our YouTube schedule, and I was like, shit, we gotta do these already? I feel like we just did them. But it's always fun, and I like, I like hearing your guys' perspectives on these characters, because while we talk a lot about this game, a lot of it is like more on the cards than the investigators. So it's always fun to see. And if you enjoyed this at home, feel free to let us know in the comments. And by liking the video, there will be a link to the blank tier list and also Bryn's tier list so you can follow along at home. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Huge thank you to all of our patrons. And have a good one, a Merry Christmas, and a great 2024, which starts in a few days. Thanks for watching, and GG's.